Good morning. We are getting ready to start our smoker, and that's our first form of method of cooking. And we need to use wood chips in the smoker in order to create that flavor profile. We're using an apple and a hickory wood, and the smoke gives the flavor to the wood. And the smoke is a product of basically incomplete combustion of the material in the presence of oxygen, but at a low temperature for burning. The sugars in cellulose, the cells, and the hemicellulose, which are the two primary materials in the smoke, break apart into many of the same molecules that found in caramel, with a sweet, fruity, and flower aroma. McGee talks about it on page 448, and those are the flavors we're going for with our smoke. We're using a combination of the apple and hickory smoke, and you can see here that the wood chips are pre-soaking. And the reason for this is that we want to cool the coals so that the wood burns at a lower temperature. Meathead tells us most of the smoke on Amazing Ribs, most of the smoke comes from the flavoring comes from the smoke, but it occurs right away. It occurs in the first hour to 2 hours of cooking. So the wood, adding wood to the fire later really doesn't do much as far as creating flavor. It allows moisture to escape as you're opening the door to add it, and it's just better to leave that door closed when you're doing it. You do need to be careful when using. You can use too much smoke, and if you use too much smoke, your meat can become very bitter in taste. Some meats cook low and slow in a smoky environment, as in our electric cooker. It will not develop a smoke ring, and that is partly because the wood smolders at a low temperature in electric products. So we are getting ready to start this up, and we'll get going. Okay, we're getting ready to set up. We're going to use, in our liquid pan, we're using a combination of our apple cider and water. Probably maybe 25, 75 more apple cider, maybe 50-50. It really doesn't matter, the combination. It's just going to help, again, create that profile with the flavor, okay? We've pre-soaked our wood chips, and it's just time to add them to the fire. So very slowly, we're going to just go ahead and add them on, and we'll get started. Hi. Okay. Now, we're going to cook our turkey low and slow on the smoker. And as we discussed before, there probably won't be a smoke ring. Because it's an electric smoker, there may be, because it can run a little hotter. But meats cooked on a low temperature with electric and with the wood sometimes don't show a smoke ring. So we'll have to check that out when we're done. But you know, it might not be there. The meat, we're going to prepare it with a dry rub. Now this is already mixed together because we already have it. It contains salt and pepper, paprika, cayenne pepper, a little bit of cumin, and garlic powder. Alright? So we're going to sprinkle that on it. Flip it over. Sprinkle it on the back, and going to inject it each side of the breast with a set of apple cider. So on one side, I'm going to go ahead, and I don't know if you can see it, but you can see the breast getting a little bigger, the apple cider is leaking out a little bit. It's, you know, but it's gonna, those cells are eating up that moisture, and it's gonna create a little more moisture, so the meat's not as dried out when we go and eat it. Now on the other side, we're just gonna go ahead again, inject that apple cider into it. Okay. And we're going to go out and take it out to our smoker. Okay, we're going to put the meat on our smoker and we're starting our process. Now, what's going to happen is, as we're cooking it, the most magical transformation is going to happen, and that's called the Maillard reaction. And the Maillard reaction is the browning of the meat and the surface, and then it's crunchy. It browns it, it creates that crust on the outside. Now what we don't want, according to Meathead, is the meat to turn black. Black meat turns to carbon. Carbon can be unhealthy for us. So we're looking for that brown, crunchy Maillard reaction, and that's just named after a French scientist who stumbled onto this area in the early 1900s. See you at the end.
You almost had a bit of a smoke.
Can we look at this when we're done with the turkey? Cool.
What?
Now, you see as we're cutting the turkey, there's no smoke ring, and that's what we talked about, that we wouldn't have that because we use an electric smoker. But see how really nice and brown this, like, edge and cook? This is what we want. And that's nice brown crust for the Maillard reaction.